Good morning, everyone. Brian here with BMK Retro Gaming. As usual, it's a pretty early morning here, not quite 2 a.m. Central Standard Time. Coffee going. But we have the Sunday Probrew review to get out of our way, so here we go. It is on the demo cart I got from William Hicks, who is and does 8-bit Milligames, on two games that they've developed and released, which is Demon. It doesn't say it here on the cartridge necessarily, but the full names are Demon Attack, The Next Wave, and New Atlantis, A City Rebuilt. Here's basically what the cartridge looks like. It's a demo cartridge. As you might be able to see, it's a review copy, not for sale, but it is mine, which is my copy, and the two games on it are 100% complete. They're full games, so. Though William did mention to me that at least on this, there is on Demon Attack one small bug or glitch, but it's not a big deal. And it's been fixed in the releases that have been done otherwise, which we'll get into in just a bit. It's pretty nice looking. It says Millie on here and all this. It doesn't say the full names of both games, just Demon Attack and Atlantis. But anyway, with the two names, how do you say, Demon Attack The Next Wave and New Atlantis A City Rebuilt, you'd think they kind of sound like they give the connotation of being sequel games, but no, William explained to me that even though that might sound that way a bit, they're ports for the ColecoVision Probrew ports, and the name change is basically just so that they hopefully avoid any intellectual property right infringement with Imagic, Imagic, or is it Imagic? I'll say Imagic because that's what I'm used to. With Imagic, who did the original games, which, although they are not really around anymore and haven't been since sometime back then, the rights, if I'm not mistaken, would still be held by Activision, who bought out all their assets after they went under back in those days, so. It's basically a name change which might sound like they're sequel games, but is really just done like a lot of homebrew developers and Probrew developers would to try and not be in violation of those intellectual property rights. Anyway, they're both 2002 releases, very recently released. And of course, they're by 8-bit Milligames, which is done by Mr. William Hicks, and he works with, I think he said, 2 or 3 other people on it. It wasn't really based on or designed on anything prior, such as Imagic's, original Atari VCS 2600 original library port or their Intellivision original library port. It's not developed directly from them or anything like that. It was developed using a Zilog Z80, which is basically the same CPU processor and all that is. It's one of the main, if not the main, one of the main processors the ColecoVision original hardware used, so. Anyway, they're both very nice games. I've been playing them off and on for a bit, so I can get ready to show them off to you guys a bit. And then we'll go ahead and get into the details on it a bit more. How do you say, on everything else. So I'm going to go ahead and get us set up with my ColecoVision Phoenix and the game, and we're going to take a look into the gameplay. Okay, so here we go. Firing her up. Take just a second to get us in there. Here we have the 8-bit Milligames logo. And we see right here, Classics Reimagined Volume 1. 2002 8-bit Milligames review copy, not for sale, okay? Now, you have basic controls besides just your mini joystick or thumbstick, which is left fire button is designated fire, and the right one is designated as being arm. Now, if you press arm on either one once you select one, you'll get the more basic version of the gameplay, which plays a lot more like the Imagic Atari VCS 2600 original library game, which Will had told me he designed it so that it would have more of the Atari VCS 2600 gameplay, gameplay more similar to the Imagic's Atari VCS 2600 original library port because, well, a lot of gamers would be very easily familiar with that. While in graphical qualities, they tend to both look a lot more like they would have been. They resemble a lot more the Imagic's Intellivision original library port from back in the day. Though some gameplay elements are also taken from that to a certain degree too. It's actually pretty well a brilliant move because, well, probably more people owned and played with it on an Atari VCS 2600 back in the day. The Intellivision home video game console line sold well themselves, but not quite as well. So it plays in a way that many would be familiar with, while at the same time being pretty much, looks pretty impressive. Here we go, this is standard on Demon Attack. Ooh. Just keep your thumbstick going and keep moving out of their way and keep firing. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? This is very nice. We've got the colors and all, much like what you'd expect from the color palette of the ColecoVision. And the enemies, you know, they move well. The ship is not too elaborately designed, but does look good. It's a fairly simple design, but not too simple. Almost looks kind of like the original Atari logo from back in the day. In shape, anyway. And as you can see, it plays a lot like Demon Attack would have back then. Of course, this is the Atari VCS 2600 port style gameplay, which is a bit simpler. And there's my game over already. As you get going, eventually they'll even shoot a crater that will force you to one side have to fight your way out of being pretty well cornered for a while, so it's pretty accurate all. Okay, and then you press 0 to go back to the startup screen. Now we'll play Demon Attack, pressing fire, which is more like the Intellivision original library port mode from Imagic. Which is basically, you've got a nice background here, which looks like we've got a nice background moon or planet or something in stars. It's much more impressive looking. This is a lot more like what Imagic's original, Intellivision original library port back in the day would have looked like. And I kind of prefer this mode because it's both more impressive looking and, well, it just gives you more of a feel for it being a fairly impressive game, which it is. Alright, one thing you gotta remember with these guys is keep moving. Do not just sit there. They will eventually find their way to blasting the tar out of you if you do that. And if you're like me and don't move enough, they'll do it anyway. The enemies are very reminiscent of what you would find on the Atari VCS 2600 port in a way. I'm going to try that one more time because I know I can do better. Select easy mode. Both are challenging games. Just like both original library ports would have been said to be. You have to be on your toes with them if you want to get anywhere. I've scored well over 3,000 to 4,000 on both of them before, but takes some practice and some work to get it right. Just like in the original ports, they will split off and try to come down and dive bomb you. After you get this far. Don't give them the opportunity. The glitch or bug I was mentioning is sometimes your ship will appear a little bit distorted on demon attack, but usually after you have died, which I just did, or and get moving again, it will clear up. Anyway, that's basically what demon attack looks like. I know I can play a little better than this, but don't want to drag this out for too long. And then there's New Atlantis, A City Rebuilt. If you press ARM, the right fire button, you'll basically end up starting and pretty much always playing at noontime, which is a bit thin, so I'm not going to play that one. I'm just going to press fire mode, check out the full one, which is pretty good, really. Easy mode again. Basically, your left fire button, and right when do your cannons up on the right, it tells you how much ammo you have left, generally speaking, for both cannons. Well, it's supposed to anyway. Up on the left is your score counter. I'm sorry, up there on the right, it's basically telling me how much you see, kind of like the Intellivision Intellivision original library port. If you look down there, you can see you have, I'll show you guys, you press 1 and you have access to your flying saucer, which has about 90 seconds worth of flight time before you would end up running out of power for it, and it has to be recharged. Also, when you switch from a day or nighttime mode, it tends to go ahead and be it tends to be undeployable for a while. Here we go. Yeah, this is a lot more like the Intellivision original library port, in that the Atari VCS 2600 original library port didn't really have a flying saucer. And here we go with the night mode, basically. Of course, I always like to use a saucer during that time. Your saucer, really, even if it gets run into by an enemy, it's not going to destroy it. I basically got into about day 3 or so on this one, mostly. It can be tough. You can see down there you have your little representation of your Atlantis city in those little red buildings down there. That's pretty nice. And you have the little representations down there, the little globular globe type structures too, so. I can play a bit better than I have been, but since I'm talking for review at the same time, it tends to take my concentration the other way. Kind of Space Invaders-esque looking here. But the graphics look pretty good, like what you would be expecting. That's kind of an interesting design for your cannon towers. They look kind of like a type of satellite dish or radar dish in a way, but that's kind of appropriate. Maybe something like what we would expect a more advanced civilization, or what was supposed to have been like Atlantis to come up with. Okay. Okay, got through that okay. And of course you just use your thumbstick or main joystick to go ahead and basically move this cursor around to where you want to fire at. Now they're starting to get a bit faster on me, not so easy to take on as they were before. There, darn, didn't even make 3,000. But that's basically what New Atlantis A City Rebuilt is like. Pretty good game in its own right, too. Anyway, I think you guys generally get the idea of the gameplay by now. Too bad I'm not better at it. Okay, so those were Demon Attack the Next Wave and New Atlantis A City Rebuilt. 2 Probrew ports for the ColecoVision of those games by William Hicks, 8-Bit Millie Games. Coffee's wanting to run a bit. It will. Anyway, they're both very nice and good Probrew ports. And I use the term Probrew here because, well, William is, he's been programming and doing game development for about 25 years. He's on a professional level. He's not, excuse me again, he's not a hobbyist homebrew developer, in other words. Though no disrespect to them either. He's just been doing this. He knows what he's doing. And these 2 games are very good. They're very nice games, really. And, ColecoVision Games had also announced about as these were coming out that they're going to be doing their own versions for the ColecoVision. I forget whether they consider them to be homebrew or Probrew in their case. And, well, William has already told me, he's like me. He thinks that the ColecoVision has some very nice games and does some very good work, but their relationship hasn't always been 100% smooth. So, to avoid any, hopefully avoid any further unfortunate misunderstandings and not make them feel like there's already 2 competing versions of these 2 games out there that they'd have to worry about, is one reason why these games have been released via digital download of the game ROMs. Now, how you can get those is through 8-Bit Millie Games Retro Gamers Club. It's similar to ColecoVision's the ColecoVision Experience Club, which is basically, if you can afford to splurge just a bit, $170 for a year membership. It looks like they're about to be going into year 5. At least for this year, you would get, besides exclusive access to their game room vault, you would also get at least 2 of their games, Homebrew, Probrew, I forget which one they would regard them as, CIB Complete in Box, and a third one which, at least up to that point, had been unreleased at the time you got it, or may have gone unreleased overall. And it's not a bad deal. I believe they're getting ready to go into their 5th year on it. Starting up this next year, we'll see. Anyway, the 8-Bit Millie Games Retro Gamers Club is a bit easier to budget, I guess you could say, at $50 per year, and with that, you also get access to 8-Bit Millie Games game ROM vault of digital downloads, Some there would be proprietary, I think, if I've understood correct, and some are not. In other words, there might be a fee with some, and some are totally free. And also, another perk that you get is if you happen to own ColecoVision original hardware and need any repairs done, 8-Bit Milligames will repair it for little or no cost. You might not pay much more than the cost of maybe a $1 chip that may need replacing or something like that. No, nowhere near the type of cost that you may need, that you may incur for a more getting such a thing repaired through some others. So it's a good deal on that one. Due to wanting to be kind of deferent and respectful and hopefully avoid any snafus with ColecoVision games, as well as that it did not really cost Will anything more than some of his time to develop these two games, is why they are being released. Those are the reasons why he's releasing them as downloadable game ROMs, which you can get entirely free if you are a member of the Retro Gamers Club already. If you're not, it's only $50 per membership, and you could also look at that as though it's that'd be similar to saying you were, if you were going to go ahead and get the membership so that you'd have access to that and could get these two games for free, and that was your motivation for doing it, then you could say it'd be similar as like through the membership you paid $25 per game, and really, especially for Probrew, ColecoVision Probrew games, that you can't get them for much better than that. And then you get all the other perks of the membership too. So if you're not a member at the 8-Bit Milligames Retro Gamers Club, I would highly suggest going ahead and taking a look into becoming one. It's definitely worth it. And to ColecoVision Games' own ColecoVision Experience Club is not a bad deal either if you can afford to splurge some. They have some great games too, as Will and I both do agree. So, anyway, I do have a couple of recommendations and links for you guys, which is the 8-Bit Milligames YouTube channel. 8-Bit Millie has two videos which go over these games. So I will leave links for you guys for those. And also, I will go ahead and leave you a link for the 8-Bit Milligames website with store, and for a link for where you can find the 8-Bit Milligames Retro Gamers Club, so that you can go ahead and sign up if you would like to. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know that William has unfortunately had a little accident and has a very badly bruised hip here recently, so I am wishing him a speedy recovery on that. These things happen, but as the years kind of go by, yeah, it can take a little while longer to get over. Hey, I'm looking at turning 40 myself Monday, not really looking forward to it, and tomorrow actually. And even at just 40, a lot of things have gotten a lot harder and kind of more long-winded than they used to not be. So hopefully William will have a very good recovery very soon. We definitely don't need to lose any more talent, good creative talent in the gaming and retro gaming communities like we've had. In other words, don't go killing yourself. Be careful. I also do want to thank William because, this is actually a new first for this channel, as, well, when he asked me to do it, I was like, I've never reviewed anything yet, which I don't own personally as part of my collection. And he's like, oh, well, this is your copy to keep, And I'm like, well, is it full versions and complete versions of the games? He's like, yes. It's in the form of a review copy, but the two games on it are full, complete versions of the game, 100%. I'm like, okay, well, they're complete, 100% full versions of the games. This is mine to keep. That's cool, because I've never actually reviewed anything that I didn't own in my personal collection yet, or that was not a complete and full game, so that would have been an interesting one. But it's also an interesting first in that nobody's actually asked me to use my channel yet to help promote their game or event or anything yet and get the word out, so I'm more than happy to have the opportunity to do this. Both for William and because it's a new first for this channel. Certainly, I guess this is one of the things that come with comes over time with the channel growing some and getting a better audience and, having a bit more success. So thank you very much to William Hicks and 8-Bit Newly Games for going ahead and giving me that opportunity, and I'm sure there will be future ones from himself and probably others too. Anyway, if you enjoy this channel's content, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and please don't hesitate to leave any questions, comments, or suggestions down in the comment section below. There also is the ColecoVision Original Library game review coming up this coming Wednesday, and I'm still kind of debating which one it's going to be, but look for the announcement post, and you'll find out what it's going to be after a bit. You guys know me, no spoilers. In the meantime, you guys have a wonderful Sunday. Take care, and hopefully I will see you again on Wednesday.